Enjoy the ride, pal.
It's the XRP.
What's up, Crypto Ghost? What's up, XRP fam? It's the Bagman, the Moon Commander, back in the spaceship. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in for another one. We're going to show you how to become a host and run your own Evernode. So strap in, hop in the mothership. Let's go full speed, full throttle into the Cryptoverse. Before we get started, we got a couple Evernode updates. 16 plus days post-launch, we have 3,770 hosts, more decentralized and proof of work. We can track the network on the two fantastic community dashboards. We got a couple of new community dashboards here. We got this one and then we got this one. We also got one here from Crypto Eddie, 3,800 plus Evernode hosts, 16 days post-launch. We got the Codathon for developers happening at the Wave of Innovations. And we got here Scott Chamberlain from Evernodes.
Yeah, so we've got 3,800 or more hosts on our network at the moment, which is, we're 16 days post-launch. We consider that an excellent start to the network for Evernode. From Evernode's point of view, it's important to understand that those 3,800 hosts aren't some sort of mesh network, right? The way that Evernode works is you are a host on the network and you're running software that is capable of accepting instances of someone's dApp into your host. And so the goal for us is that a dev can come to the network and from amongst all the hosts, select 20, 30, 40, 50, however many it is, 5 hosts that they need to host their dApp and purchase leasing slots in acceptably priced and acceptably reliable and acceptably geographically placed hosts so that they can stitch together the network that runs their dApp. And that network is made up of a cluster of the hosts that it's chosen to run itself on. Right, we've now got a really good platform for people to come and build an experiment building with Evernode.
So as Scott Chamberlain says, the purpose of running an Evernode is to host and manage smart contracts on the XAHAU blockchain. By running an Evernode, individuals and organizations can participate in a decentralized ecosystem, earn rewards by hosting contracts, support the execution of decentralized applications, dApps, and contribute to the security and resilience of the XAHAU network, provides economic incentives, and plays a crucial role in the growth and development of the blockchain ecosystem. So you get the rewards, but you can also lease out your contracts to support the execution of decentralized applications. Currently, to set up an Evernode is about 500 Evers at the current price, around 29 cents. You're looking at about 145 bucks. When I set mine up, it was around 34, 35 cents. I was going to do a video, but the price shot up to about 70, 80 cents. Then I was out in Sacktown, so didn't really have much time. So let's go ahead and dive in, setting up the Evernode. We'll check out the current rewards. The current Evernode reward schedule. Rewards are distributed every moment, 1 hour. Rewards are shared equally among the eligible hosts. Rewards start at 5120 Evers per moment and have every epoch. So at the current epoch, we're getting about 5,120 Evers split among all the hosts. We're currently in the first epoch, about 2 weeks in. This one will last 6 weeks, every hour, 5,120 Evers, split amongst the 3,800 hosts. After that, the rewards will get cut in half down to 2,560 every hour, and that will last 12 weeks, and then we'll go into the third epoch, and so on and so forth. I'll leave all the links down below. Rewards will cease at the end of the 10th epoch after roughly 118.04 years. And this is my Evernode right now, and as of last night I received about 34.56 Evers. So let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. You're going to need a VPS. You also need a domain name, and you'll also need an SSH client to interact with your VPS and set everything up. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're gonna need is a VPS, and you can check out all the system requirements here for the Evernode host. Anyone can become an Evernode host by installing the Evernode setup on their compatible Linux server. Host register on the Evernode registry, a well-known XAHAU account published by Evernode Labs. Host lease smart contracts hosting the Evernode tenants in exchange for Evers. All of the above are automated by the Sashimono Evernode host management software, which gets installed when you run the Evernode installer. As an Evernode host, your Linux server will be registered on the XAHAU network via the Evernode registry hook. During the installation, you can choose how much system resources you wish to allocate for smart contract hosting. After everything is set up, your server will start leasing hosting space to Evernode tenants. And we got the system requirements here. Operating system requires Ubuntu 20.04. You also need a swap of 2 gigabytes, disk space around 4 gigabytes minimum. You also need a domain name for your host, and you'll also need a public email address to be used for the public contact method. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first is we're going to go ahead and purchase our VPS. We're going to go ahead and get the $5.50 a month VPS, which starts off with 4 CPUs, 6 gigabytes of RAM, and 100 gigabytes of space. So the minimum RAM is 2, we're getting 6, and the minimum disk space is 4 gigs, and we're going to be getting 100 gigabytes. So we'll go ahead and select the 550 cloud here. And we'll go ahead, best latency for you is United States. We'll go ahead and select the 550 here. There is a one-time monthly setup fee of $550. We'll go ahead and select 1 month. You can select higher terms if you want to. The 3-month term, the one-time setup fee is only $410 instead of $550. The 6-month is $275, and the 12-month the setup fee is waived. For the 1 month, it's going to be $550 a month plus the one-time setup fee, and ours is recommended for United States. You can pick the best latency for yours. Ours is going to be $1.35 extra for the United States. Storage type 400 gig SSD is fine, and we are going to be using Ubuntu 20.04. This is going to be your login information to get into your VPS. Your username will be root, and you can generate a password. Make sure to save this password so you can access your VPS later on. Number 6 you don't need. Number 7 you don't need. Number 8 you don't need. We're good to go. Go ahead and select next. Go ahead and type in all your information here. You're a new customer. After that, you're good to go. You got the one-time $550 setup fee, but after that, it'll only be $6.85 per month. Go ahead and put in all your info. Go ahead and make your purchase and go ahead and hit next. After that, we'll move on to the next step. Once you make your purchase, you'll get this confirmation here, and it says expected provisioning times, web space 3 hours, VPS, BDS 3 hours, and dedicated server 48 hours. You could be waiting up to 3 hours for them to set up your VPS, but as soon as the provisioning is done, you'll get an email with the login credentials. No action is required on your end, and it's not necessary to contact us in this regard. Once you do that, you can move on to the next step. We're going to be purchasing our domain. We're going to be using Namecheap. You can type in whatever you want and just find the cheapest one. And just go ahead and look down the list for the cheapest one. So far, it's looking like this .online is going to be our cheapest one here with 98 cents for the first year and then $2.88 every year after that. We'll go ahead and add that one to our cart. Go ahead and check out. So this is all good as is. $1.16 will be your total for your domain name. Go ahead and confirm your order. Go ahead and type in all your information, complete the purchase. You can also check to automatically renew all your eligible new services before they expire. You can go ahead and hit continue. Make your purchase, and after that, we're good to go on to the next step. So once you make your purchase, you'll get the purchase summary here, and you'll get all this info here. You can just go ahead and hit manage your domain. And once you get here, you can also reach it here from domain list, and then going down to your domain name and hitting manage. But once you get here, we're going to head over to the advanced DNS tab, and then we're going to go ahead and delete these records and then set up our new record for our new VPS. We'll go ahead and head back to our cloud service here. And now we're going to log into our VPS. You should have received an email by now how to log into your VPS. Go ahead and grab your login details from the email you receive, and then go ahead and head back to the site. We're going to go ahead and log in, put in your login details, and then go ahead and log into the site. Go ahead and save the password. And now we're logged into the site here. We're going to come over here to our services, the first one at the top left. And here goes our VPS here, $5.50 a month, plus the United States VPS, an extra $1.35. For the next step, we're going to go ahead and grab this IP address. Go ahead and copy that. And then go ahead and head back to your Namecheap domain name. And we're going to go ahead and add a new record here. Add new record. Make sure you're on the advanced DNS tab. We're going to go ahead and create an A record. We're going to go ahead in the host tab, we're going to go ahead and hit at, and then we're going to go ahead and paste in that IP address in the value tab here. Automatic is fine. Go ahead and hit the green button to save that. And then once you do that, you're good to go for the next step. The next step is to download the SSH client to interact with your VPS. We're going to be using Terminus. Go ahead and sign up with your email. Once you sign up and log in, we're going to go ahead and head over to your dashboard and then hit get the apps here. Once you do that, you should get a pop-up here for a download. Go ahead and download that depending on which operating system you're on. Go ahead and download the Terminus app, and once you do that, you should be good to go. And once you have Terminus downloaded, go ahead and open up Terminus. Here goes our Terminus app right here. Once you do that, we're going to go ahead and set up our first host. Make sure you're on this host tab here. And what we're going to need is that same IP address from your VPS here. Go ahead and copy that IP address and go ahead and paste that here into the IP or host name. We're going to go ahead and hit create host. Once you get here, if you don't have this sidebar open, just go ahead and hit the edit button right here. Next step in the general tab here, go ahead and add a label. Go ahead and name your VPS. Go ahead and do Evernode Bags. And then after that, go ahead and hit down here and go ahead and hit show more. And then we're going to go ahead and type in root for your username. And for password, it's going to be the password that we wrote down when we initially set up our VPS. Go ahead and type that in and go ahead and hit connect. And it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to connect? Go ahead and hit agree and continue. And now that we have access to our VPS, there are a couple more steps to do before we start installing the node. First is to enable and make sure we have IVP6 enabled on our node, which is recommended to run your Evernode, mainly for security, but for some other features as well. We'll also be setting up the 2 GB minimum recommended swap file. So we'll go ahead and enable our IVP6 first. And to enable the IVP6, we're going to run this simple code here, which is enable _ IPv6, and then go ahead and hit enter. Wait for this to process. And then once you get here, you should be good to go. We'll go ahead and reboot. Go ahead and type in reboot and then hit enter. And just give it a couple seconds to reconnect. You can go ahead and hit reconnect down here. And then once your VPS is done rebooting, it'll go ahead and reconnect you to your VPS. And then we can go ahead and move on to the next step. We'll just go ahead and give this a few seconds. If it fails, just go ahead and hit start over. And there we go. We're back into our VPS. We can now go on to the next step, which is enabling the swap file. And we'll go ahead and check our swap file now with this code here, free space -h. We'll go ahead and hit enter. And as you can see here, our swap file is at 0 GB, so we'll need to set that up. All the information will be down below, so you can just copy and paste these codes, but we're going to be using this one here, sudo dd if. So once you paste in this code, go ahead and hit enter, and that should set up our swap file. And there we go. We'll go ahead and double check to see that once again by running the free space -h code. And now as you can see here, we now have our swap file all set up. 2 GB, which is recommended for our swap file. We have the IVP6 enabled. So now we're good to go ahead and install the Evernode code here, which is this line of code right here. Make sure you read the above sections before installing, running the following command to install Evernode on your Linux server. We're going to be installing the node here with this code. We'll go ahead and type that in, and now it is installing. And it says it found the Sashimono version 0.81. This will install Sashimono Evernode Contract Instance Manager software. Go ahead and hit yes to register. And now it says this will install the Sashimono Evernode Contract Instance Management software and register your system as an Evernode host. Go ahead and hit Y and go ahead and hit enter. Installing the level prerequisites, installing the node.js, and it'll just run through and install your node. Just give it a few seconds and checking the initial level prerequisites, installing nodes. And now it says Evernode software license agreement. Just go ahead and agree to the terms of use. Go ahead and hit Y, enter for yes. Now it says, are you performing a fresh installation? Yes, this is a fresh installation. Hit yes, Y. Go ahead and hit Y and then enter. And now it says, do you want to connect to the default Ripple server, which is the XAHAU network? Go ahead and hit Y and enter for yes. checking the server. And now it says go ahead and enter your email address for your host. This will be published on the host registry and is publicly visible to anyone. One thing to note is you can use the same email address for multiple hosts. Make sure that there is no extra spaces here. We're going to be using XRP Bags at xrpbags.io. Enter your email address and then go ahead and hit enter. And now it's asking for the domain that this host will be reachable at. That's going to be the domain that we set up over at Namecheap. And once you get to the Namecheap site, we're just going to go ahead and grab this domain name that we set up at the beginning of the video, which is bagmannode.online. Go ahead and copy and paste your domain that you registered. Make sure there's no extra spaces and then go ahead and hit enter. And it says domain verification successful. And now it's saying Evernode can automatically set up the free SSL certificates and renewals for our domain name. We'll go ahead and hit Y for yes and hit enter. And it says, do you agree to have Let's Encrypt send SSL certificate notifications to your email? Go ahead and hit Y for yes and hit enter. And now it's saying, do you agree with the terms and services for Let's Encrypt? Go ahead and hit Y for yes and then enter. Now it's asking, does our host have IPv6 subnet assigned to it? And as long as you purchase your VPS from Contabo, you should have your IPv6 set up already, which is right here. We did enable it already as well. So go ahead and hit yes that we do have an IPv6 subnet assigned. Hit Y and then enter. And now it's going to ask you for your CIDR assigned to this host. And what you're going to do is take this IPv6 address here from your VPS. You're going to copy that. And then we're going to head over to the IP subnet calculator to iplocation.io. We're going to be using the subnet calculator. If you can't find it, just come to the main website page and then it's going to be the first one here, subnet calculator. Once you get here, go ahead and paste in that long address from your VPS, which is the IPv6. Copy this and paste this into the calculator and go ahead and hit check now. And then once you get this information here, we're going to be copying and pasting the CIDR number here. Go ahead and copy this one here. CIDR, go ahead and copy. And we're going to go ahead and paste this. Please specify the IPv6 subnet CIDR assigned to this host. Just go ahead and copy, paste that in, and then hit enter. And it says, do you want to allocate the entire address range of the subnet? Go ahead and hit yes. And it says, is this the allocation that you want to use? Go ahead and hit yes. And since we're using a pretty decent VPS, which isn't too expensive, we'll be able to set up 9 contract instances. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, developers that are trying to run dApps and stuff like that, they'll be able to lease out your contracts. You'll be running 9 contract leases. Go ahead and hit yes and hit enter. And it says, is this the allocation that you want to use? This should be good to go. Just go ahead and hit yes. And now it's asking you to specify the lease amount in Evers for your contract instances. We have 9 contract instances with this VPS. So just specify the amount of Evers you want if your contract instances are leased. I was checking out on the Discord and it looks like people are putting around 0.001. You can put whatever you want. And also you can always change this whenever you want as well. We'll go ahead and start off with 0.001. And we'll go ahead and hit enter. It says lease amount is set to 0.001 Evers per moment, creating the message board user. And now it's asking if you want to use the default key file path. This is to save your new account key. Go ahead and hit Y for yes and hit enter. And now we're getting down to the last few steps here. This is the account that will represent the host on the Evernode host registry. You'll need to load up the account with the following funds in order to continue. The first step is to send 18.2 XAHAU to cover the regular transactions fees for the first 3 months. This is a brand new account that is generated for you. So the first step is we're going to send 18.2 XAHAU to cover the regular transaction fees for the first 3 months. We'll go ahead and do that now. If you don't have any XAHAU, you can currently pick it up on Bitrue. The ticker is XAH. It's currently right around 12 cents. You will also need some Evers that you also can pick up on Bitrue, which is EVR. And the current price is around 34 cents. You can pick both of those up over on Bitrue in order to set up your Evernode host. So we'll go ahead and scan this QR code. I am using the Xumm app. We'll go ahead and send over the 18.2 XAH. Just scan the QR code from your Xumm wallet and enter in the amount that you want to send, which is 18.2 at least. If You can also verify the address you're sending to, which is going to be this one right here. It will pop up a warning saying that the destination account hasn't been used before. It doesn't have any balance. If you continue sending the amount, one XAHAU of the 18.2 will be used to activate the account on the XRP ledger. Just go ahead and hit continue and then go ahead and sign the transaction. And now we just sent over our 18.2 XAHAU. And it says, would you like to recheck the balance? Hit yes once you send that over to recheck the balance. Waiting for the process to complete. Should read the 18.2 that we sent. Now it's preparing the host account. It says, thank you for the 18.2 XAHAU. And now it's preparing our host account, waiting for the process to complete. And once this is completed, we can go ahead and do step 2, which is send the 500 Evers to cover the Evernode registration fee. And it says, account preparation is successful. And now the next step, in order to register in the Evernode, you need to have at least 500 Ever balances in your host account. So we'll now send the 500 Evers to this same account. Go ahead and pop up the Xumm wallet, sign the QR code here. And we'll go ahead and make sure that you're sending over Evers. We're going to be sending over 500 Evers to register. Let's go ahead and hit next. Once again, you can verify the address right here. 500 Evers. We'll go ahead and send the transaction. Sending transaction. And there we go. Sent successfully. Sent over our 500 Evers. Thank you for the 500 Ever balances there in your host account. Account setup is now complete. And it says, do you want to subscribe for auto updates? We'll hit yes for auto updates. And now it says setup will now begin the installation. Final step, go ahead and hit Y for yes. And now starting the installation, just go ahead and give that a few moments to install. And after the installation, you should be up and running and you should be an official Evernode host. Installing dependencies, installing Snapped. Now it's installing the Sashimono, downloading setup support files, setting up the Let's Encrypt cert bot, installing the Docker packages, configuring the host to XAHAU, configuring the XAHAU message and board servicing, and registering our host on the Evernode registry. Still creating our lease offers, 3 of 9 currently. Now it's creating lease 5 of 9. Now it's creating lease offer 8 of 9. Now it looks like we're good to go. Installation successful. Installation log can be found here. Your system is now registered on Evernode. You can check your system status with the Evernode status command. Your system needs to be rebooted in order to complete the Sashimono installation. We'll go ahead and copy this code before we reboot. And go ahead and hit yes to reboot, Y, and then enter. And then once again, we'll have to reconnect since it's rebooting. Let's give it a few seconds to reconnect to your host. Go ahead and start over. Once again, once you reboot, it'll have to reconnect to your VPS. And now we're reconnected. We're good to go. We'll go ahead and run that Evernode space status code to see where we're at. And there we go. We got the Sashimono agent status is active and our message board status is active. As soon as it sends out your first heartbeat, your host status should be active. Once again, note, this host is marked active after sending the first heartbeat. Heartbeats go out every hour. So once you send out your first heartbeat, you should be active. You should be good to go now. You are now an official Evernode host. A couple more steps before we close out. First one is to get your key file so you can import it into the Xaman wallet, so you now have access to your node rewards. And in order to do that, we're going to run this simple code and it will pop up your secret key. We're going to run this code here. Go ahead and hit enter. And now you should have access to your secret key right here. And once you have access to your secret key here, you can now import that into your Xaman or Xumm wallet. Go ahead and go into your Xumm wallet. All you got to do is hit your accounts, and we're going to go ahead and add a new account at the top there. Then we're going to go ahead and hit the second one, which is import an existing account. Then we're going to go ahead and hit full access, which is the first one. Hit next. And then for the secret type, we're going to be hitting the second option, which is family seed. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and paste in your secret key, which is shown right here. And make sure you're typing this in as you see it, lowercase letters, numbers, and uppercase letters. Also, for security purposes, I will be blurring out half the key. Just make sure you enter your entire key. And then once you have it entered in your Xumm wallet, go ahead and hit next. And then go ahead and confirm. Go ahead and hit standard. Unless you're using extra security, you can go ahead and hit sign in with password. I'm going to be using standard. And then go ahead and add your label, Evernode 1. And once you do that, you're good to go. Account import is now complete. Go ahead and hit hooray, let's go. And once you do that, make sure you're switched onto the XAHAU network on the top right. As long as you hit the XAHAU network, you should be good to go. And you should see that you have now access to your Evernode account here. And then go ahead and hit the events tab and you can see that a registration hook has been sent. Just wait on your first heartbeat to be sent out and then your account should be activated. You now have access to your Evernode rewards, which come in every 24 hours. Heartbeats are sent out every hour, but rewards drop every 24 hours. I've been getting mine around 9 to 10 p.m. We can go ahead and close out of this. The commands are down here. For me, it's going to be Control X. And now that you completed all that, you're good to go. You're now an official host for the Evernode ecosystem. Congratulations in setting up your first Evernode host. A couple other things to know here. If you head over to the Evernode CLI, you can use the Evernode CLI to manage and monitor your Evernode host using all these commands here. They also have a new one here, a new dashboard here where you can get all the information as well. All the Evernode commands here. You can get the Evernode information, XAHAU network information here as well. Also, if you head over to the dashboard, head down to My Evernode Host. You can come up here and type in your domain name that we created over at Namecheap. We'll just grab that. And we'll type that in here to the domain. Go ahead and hit enter. And once you type in your domain name and hit enter, you can see all the hosts that you're currently running. You can also get an idea of how many Evernodes you'll be getting per day. This is also dependent on how many hosts are up and running and how many hosts are actually online. We come over here to the Evernode registry version 2 here. You can come down to stats and get all the information. The total hosts currently are 3,889. The active hosts are 3,817. You could take the active amount of hosts, which is 3,817, and divide that by the number of rewards every hour, which is 5,120. Then times that by 24 hours, and you should get that 31.6. And also one last final bonus step. If you want to create multiple hosts, you can run it under the same domain name. You do need a new VPS, but all you got to do to create multiple instances is come over to your domain list here. Come down to the one you're using, which we're using Bagman Node Online. Go ahead and hit manage. Then we're going to go over here to advanced DNS. And to set up multiple instances, we're going to go ahead and add a new record here. We're going to go ahead and hit a record. And for host, you're going to type in a subdomain that you want to use so you can kick up multiple VPSs and kick up multiple Evernodes. We're going to go ahead and just name this one Ever02. And for IP address, to kick up a new Evernode, you're just going to head back over to the VPS site and purchase a new service. So make sure you purchase a brand new VPS with the same features. And then grab your new IP address for your second VPS and then go ahead and type that in here for your IP address and then go ahead and save it. And if you wanted to kick up a third Evernode, you would do the same thing. Just add a new record, new A record, and we'll name this Ever03. And then you'll head back over to your VPS site, purchase a new VPS, your third VPS. Once you purchase your third VPS, go ahead and copy that IP address once again, and just go ahead and paste that into IP. Once you start installing your second Evernode, it's going to ask you for your domain name. You're going to put in your subdomain along with your domain address here. So we'll be putting in evr02.bagmannode.online. Once you get to your third VPS and start installing that and then ask you for your domain name, you're going to put evr03.bagmannode.online. Make sure to change that to whatever domain that you pick. But once again, once you get to your second installation of your second Evernode, it's going to ask you for your domain name. You're going to put your subdomain, which we created as evr02.bagmannode.online. Hit enter. You should be good to go. You can use the same email address. But that's pretty much it for this one. You have successfully set up and installed your Evernode and an official Evernode host. I'll leave all the documentation and links all down below. You can check out the Evernode.org site. They also have a couple dashboards you can check out. Also leave this link down below. You can check out all the commands you can run for your Evernode host. Also, another thing to note is I'm not an expert at setting these things up, but if you follow all the steps, you shouldn't have any issues and you should be good to go on setting up your first Evernode host. Also, one last thing is they did have an announcement on January 21st to all hosts. They said it's highly recommended that the Evernode host operators subscribe to the host announcement thread to be alerted for any such important announcements in the future. They did have a host software update now available for manual installations. Since we set up a new host, I'm not sure if we need to do this, but if you have any issues with your host or anything like that, you can just copy this command and go back into your Terminus app. Just go ahead and paste that in and go ahead and hit enter and you should be good to go. But other than that, that's all I got for this one. You're now officially running an Evernode host. Once again, any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below. Also, once again, if you're a Mac-based user, you can just use the terminal app that's already installed on your Mac-based computers. If you need to make any changes or updates, just log in once again using the Terminus app, log in with your user info, password, and you should be good to go to make any updates that you need. But that's pretty much going to be all for this video. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button. Also, drop a subscribe, drop a comment down below. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, crypto ghosts. Later, glitches.
Welcome to the party. This a moon party. Hey, this a moon party. Hey, welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. This a moon party. This a moon party. Welcome to the party. We don't play round here. Moon suit on her, you get sprayed.